Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another video. Have you ever wanted to watch multiple Twitter accounts simultaneously in your web browser? The capability to do that has actually been around for a while. There is a very nice service on the internet called TweetDeck. What they offer is a broadsheet service where you can sign up and they'll set up a screen where you can watch multiple Twitter feeds at once. I'm sure it's the cat's meow. I'm sure it's wonderful. I'm going to show you something different. I was on GitHub and found an interesting software package called TwitGrid. TwitGrid is a multi-feed viewer for humans. I say for humans because the truth is that most of the data downloaded off of Twitter is taken not by regular humans just reading the feeds. It's taken by bots and web scrapers. Those things take large volumes of tweets, sift through the keywords, and then alert the user if there is anything of interest. I presume such software will flash a message on the screen, sound off a horn, blow a whistle, or perhaps jump up and down, whatever. This throws a broadsheet up on the screen, and you can personally watch the flow of messages with your own eyes. You can see the sequence of textual messages and images or video. You basically have a fishbowl to stay aware of happenings. The original TwitGrid defaulted to showing you 5 primary Twitter feeds plus a couple of secondary feeds. It would load them as a series of narrow iframes side by side in your browser. There was no auto reload function, so when you wanted an update, you would have to click the reload button on your browser and then stand by, wait for the page to render. My fork is a little bit different. It offers groups of feeds organized around topics. When you first start it, a menu comes up, which is in Rofi. Rofi is a fast, fuzzy finding menu. You'll go up and down the list, choose the topic that you want to watch, and then your browser will open a tab and show you the Twitter feeds. They'll auto reload after 5 minutes. Let's talk about browsers briefly, because you would think that you could run this in just about any kind of browser. The truth is that you should use a browser with JavaScript capability and a browser that can handle multimedia files, video, audio, and images. The script itself is small, written in Bash. It doesn't use much resources, and it's fast. When you start it, the first thing that happens is it loads a couple of variables. It defines twit path, which is the path to the TwitGrid files, and it defines a browser, which is the browser which is going to open and show you the messages. If you start it in the terminal, you'll also see a brief message to let you know that it's running. And then Rofi is going to open up, and it's going to offer you a list of topics. Here's the list of topics. They are in an array variable called options. That's InfoSec, Linux, CPU and GPU technology, open source intelligence, all kinds of things. Those load up in Rofi. You make a choice, and when you choose, there's another variable which is defined called reply. And it'll take that reply and go through another list and look for a match. When it finds a match, it's going to open a small file pertaining to that match, which contains a group of 5 Twitter handles. Now, if you don't pick one of the predefined topics, you can enter a user-defined list. If you do that, a small text field will open up, and you simply enter the Twitter handles separated by a space. It takes those and it writes them into the TwitGrid HTML file, and then it goes to the browser and directs the browser to open that HTML file. That's when you see the new tab and the Twitter feeds rendering. So let's give it a try. We'll go over here to the browser, and I'm going to use the launcher and start TwitGrid. This is Rofi. TWI for TwitGrid. And notice the topics: InfoSec, Linux, CPU and GPU technology, etc. Perhaps my favorite subject in all of the world. I don't think we're going to get into that today. How about radio technology? So a tab opens. TwitGrid tells us to stand by, be patient, get rid of the ad blocker if it's running one. I think there was a snide comment in there about Chrome, and you can see the Twitter feeds are beginning to render in the browser. So what's going on? Daniel Estevez posted about 23 hours ago talking about digital pre-distortion. Interesting. F4 DAV. He's talking about something going on at 10 gigs. I think they're working on ways of extending phase lock loop technology and generating nice, stable, clean radio signals up there. And a few other posts. Dr. Marco has posted some satellite images. Weather satellite images. Let's take a look here. So when you see something of interest, you click on it and you go to the actual posting. As usual, it takes a little bit of time to load and render that page. But he tends to put up some really pretty postings when it comes to the satellite images, weather satellite stuff. He also puts up some pretty interesting astronomy and satellite tracking posts. All right, while that's working, let's see what else is being discussed. There's a conversation. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. He says it's interesting, wants people to click on it and check it out. Okay. Notice the times. This one was 23 hours ago. F4 DAV put this up in late January. USA Satcom March 4th, and then Dr. Marco put this up a couple of hours ago. So this is going to be a fresh weather satellite image. And then Andrew Jones with the interesting conversation. It might have something to do with spaceflight history, judging from the account. Well, let's go over here. Do we have an image yet? It's really taken a long time to get this data. I don't quite have the patience to wait for it here in this video. I'm just going to kill this and we'll check it out later. But that's how TwitGrid works. If you want to see something different, let's get rid of this and pull up a different subject. Changing subjects is this easy. You go back to TwitGrid and you pick a different subject. How about software-defined radio? Now, it is important to make sure you kill the prior tab before you load the new one, or you're going to end up with two tabs that will eventually have exactly the same information. Remember, the browser reads this file, and this file is where the topic information is written. The Twitter feeds are here. And there are not two separate files with different topics here. TwitGrid HTML is written just before the browser opens the tab. And there's only one. If you want to change it, you have to stop and restart and rewrite those topics into this file here. All right, so rtlsdr.com, March 5th, talking about adding an antenna port to a PineTab Linux tablet. A few other people discussing different aspects of software-defined radio. Satnogs is a pretty interesting feed if you haven't looked at that yet. People all around the world operating small satellite stations. At the very least, downlinks, some have the ability to transmit. Lime Micro. Who out there uses a Lime SDR? Slick. All right, so let's kill this one. Let's pull another topic. How about China Watch? Let's see what's going on. Are we up to WW3 just yet? How's the meeting going? Let's see what they're talking about. Sons of bitches have just about cut off the internet because they're nervous about coverage of the meeting. They don't like it when other people exercise their right to talk about topics, even when it's talking about them. Okay. Nothing especially unusual here. Same old stuff, different day. The times are never boring. They're always at least a bit interesting. Sometimes the times can be really interesting. So says the curse, may you live in interesting times. I don't remember a time that has not been interesting. Hence, my enthusiasm about monitoring multiple Twitter accounts all at once. Yeah, these people are a little bit more active than the folks posting about radio. Yeah. You can read these for yourself if you're interested. Take a freeze frame, note the accounts, and go to it if you are interested. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a demonstration of TwitGrid. It works great, lasts a long time. I hope you enjoy it. If you want the script, look on my GitHub. The original TwitGrid shows up in a search. My own fork didn't show up in a search, but you can go through the forks or go straight to ab9il.net. And I'll show that to you here. github.com/Alpha Bravo Niner India Lima. Go in there and look for my TwitGrid fork. Enjoy it, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.